Welcome to today's Ehcma Best Practices Roundtable discussion talking about fall protection. I'm Richard Bass with Karari America, and today I have...
So I'm Red Reed. I'm the Safety and Security Manager at OxyChem Pasadena PVC.
Hi, I'm Paul Hernandez. I'm the Safety Manager for Ketchum Pasadena.
Wendy Key, HICO Safety Lead at Air Products and Chemicals.
I'm John Castaneda, the Senior Safety and Health Manager at Salanese.
All right, so today, one of the focal points on fall protection, we're not going to be spending a lot of time talking about the actual PPE or the tools, meaning, we're not going to be talking about the harness that much, maybe some best practices with the harness, but in reality, what we want to focus on is fall protection in general, which is really your walking, working surfaces and things that we can do with like scaffolding and stuff like that to, really go to that above and beyond level. So John, me and you were talking about before, and you were talking about a 4-tag system with your scaffolding. Could you enlighten us a little bit?
Yeah, so we found that most of our soft craft trades that we interface with are very reluctant to put a green tag on because of one thing or another. But if you look at it, it's a complete guardrail system. There's a swing gate there, safe access, but maybe they didn't put a tow board at the swing gate access, or they always seem to rely on, well, I have plywood and on a wooden deck, it's a tripping hazard, therefore I can't make it green. So we wanted to respect that aspect of it, but we also said we want to get out of fall protection. It's not our primary means of protection. So what we did was we created a 4th tag at our site. So you have typically what we see in the industry is red, yellow, green. And so for us, yellow at our site represents that we have an opening of 9.5 inches or greater, we have a mid-rail or guardrail missing, and then we have a swing gate that is missing. If one of those 3 things are not present, we put a yellow tag on it. If it's anything else, such as the tripping hazard or a tow board missing, then we put a yellow tag to identify, to increase our awareness from a caution standpoint. But then there's about a 1/2 inch green border that goes around the edge of it. And the green border indicates that fall protection is not required. So we introduced that. There were some growing pains of that because we were still finding them, our scaffold partners, not wanting to put those on there. And it took some duration and time, I'd say a good 6 to 9 months. But with training, oversight in the field, engagement, a lot of mentoring, we're to the point now where we very rarely ever see us mistag a scaffold on what our standards are now. So we do have a 4-tag system at our site.
So I'll just kind of jump in real quick. We have a similar process. However, it's not the 4-tag thing, right? We had a similar issue with the scaffold builders not really wanting to put a green tag for all of the scaffolds, even though, from a functional standpoint, it's complete engineered system still, right? And so one of the ways that we were kind of circumventing that was, okay, put the yellow tag, but really you got to spell out the details of why the yellow tag is there and allow the scaffold user to kind of make that determination. Is this safe for me to use without any additional personal fall rest system or anything like that? So what I do like to having the yellow tag with the green border on the outside, kind of really spelling out, and it's a quick visual, right? And it kind of lets us know that, all right, there's already something that the scaffold erector saw, the competent person decided that, okay, it's not a full green tag, let's identify why.
Yeah, and we used to have the 100% checkbox, if you will, but to what you just said, people saw the color and didn't really go and explore the tag or whether had missed the print off the tag. And that's one of the reasons that we also went this route. But we've been doing it for 3+ years and feel we had good success. Another thing that we do is you're not allowed to climb a ladder over 12 feet, the deck being 12 feet. If it's going to be over 12 feet, you have to have a ladder brake or it has to have an SRL installed, and you have to have an SRL while you climb the ladder. And so I don't know that everybody does that, but that's one of the things we do to help get people to their working deck safely.
That is nice. Yeah, I think the SRLs with the accessing the scaffolds, I've seen them range from like 12 feet to 15 feet to 18 feet, something like that. And so not sure if anybody else has something similar like that as well.
Some of the previous locations I worked at was 10 feet. and we had a very similar tagging system that you guys had, but went off the ANSI color coding, the caution, warning, danger. So we pretty much added the orange tag in that a lot of people don't have, but exactly for yellow tag, like the head knockers or a small opening in the floor or the plywood unevenness, we could mark in yellow and they would still be fully complete, but we wouldn't have to have the fall protection required, stamped on there. So, yeah, I mean, very good system. Like I said, I've been at a few sites, and that's always been kind of one of the pains, is always having the PP pretty much on every scaffold you have. So once you transition to that, and you guys do it successfully, I think it makes it a lot easier for your workers and the contractors the whole entire time.
So what's the benefit of not having to have that fall protection on? What have you gotten feedback from the contractors?
Yeah, I just am a firm believer of, I don't believe in a shotgun rule approach to doing things. And at the end of the day, fall protection should be one of our last lines of defense. And if we're going to rely on that, you're really taking a lot of the engineering out that we expect to be put in place to prevent folks. And so if we're putting folks up there unnecessarily wearing the burden of fall protection where they could get hooked up. I've seen somebody coming down a ladder, and back in the days when we wore SRLs, 6-foot lanyards, they were coming over a ladder and their foot actually was tangled up in the lanyard and they fell off the ladder about 10 feet down to the next level. And all because they were wearing a harness and a lanyard that wasn't required. They were on a scaffold that it did not warrant having that harness on. So that's one of the things, just to eliminate the burden. For me, one of the things that I always try to do is when we go and execute and deploy new programs and processes is really ask myself if I was going to be out there doing that job, do I want to wear a harness if it's not required? And the answer is no.
Well, Alan, how many times do you see where they build a scaffold and it could be a green scaffold, but up at the top they're having to wear a harness with nothing to tie off to? Yeah. There's no tie point, right? So they're tying off to the handrail or something else because they have to tie off to something. In reality, it's over safety, right? You're putting them in a position where they're actually having to do something that they shouldn't have to do, all because we didn't mandate or we didn't require a green scaffold when it can be.
I'll also add that your fall protection is the guardrail system. I mean, that is your primary fall protection. We're talking about secondary.
Yeah, we're talking about
additional
PPE,
fall protection.
Right?
Yeah, we're talking about PPE there. So that's my whole thing. My whole point is that let's get these fall protection systems erected properly so that we don't have to have additional equipment, especially in the heat. Adding further weight to the body really kind of adds a lot of issues too. So I do agree. I do often think that some of the companies themselves, like contractor companies, may require their own employees to have that just kind of 100%, right? Yeah. And then it goes back to, well, why? What's their intentions? What are they thinking? That kind of thing. So, but really, I always go back to kind of do your risk assessment. What exactly is present there for that particular scaffold? And then, do you need additional fall protection? Or or actually, does that scaffold look like it should be a different color tag? Yellow, red, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's the practical approach. I mean, even we only allow SRL use to be done, right? And so our company policy at one point was that you have to require a Y-legged SRL, and I pushed back on that and I said, why? Well, you have to have two to maintain 100% fall protection, but there are times that you do not need two. Think about getting in a man basket. You only need one. And so our corporation actually changed that, and we actually purchased single SRLs because of the practicality and that unnecessary weight for the worker. So I think we need to evaluate each of those, to your point, Paul, the risk and that task-specific risk, and put proper plans in place to protect our employees from that.